Okay, I think we're ready to get started. So welcome to the Meet the Candidates night for the Village of St. Bernard. I'm already loud, so I'm going to be even louder on a microphone. But thanks so much to Don Taberky for organizing this and putting this together. I mean, obviously these are people you know in your community, but it's always a good idea to have a chance to get everyone together in one place before the election. So first of all, we have 3 candidates for 2 open seats for St. Bernard Elmwood Place School Board. I believe 1 candidate is here with us. The first is Joseph Wheeler, who was not able to attend, along with Rebecca Blevins, but Linda Radke is here. Linda? Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Taberky, for arranging this. I know that wasn't easy to do. As a school board member for 32 years, I have focused on providing the best education for our students at the lowest cost. The communities of St. Bernard and Elmwood Place invest a significant amount of tax dollars in our schools, and taxpayers deserve a positive return on their investment. That positive return is measured by student progress and ultimately by the graduation of seniors on time and well prepared for their next steps. Our graduates should become productive citizens who are employable, enroll in post-secondary education, enlist in the military, or become entrepreneurs. The state of Ohio calls this the 4 E's, and they use that when they rate us. In the most recent state report card ratings, our high school was rated above average. Overall, the district was average, which is higher than that of all other districts in the area with similar demographics, and it means that we meet state standards. With 82% of the costs borne by the state, we will open a new pre-K-12 building to students in the 2nd semester of this school year. This facility brings considerable assets to the Village of St. Bernard, including added earnings taxes. Most importantly, all students in our district will have the same facilities and the same educational opportunities throughout their school careers. My career has been in education, and I have worked with more than 40 school districts in Southwest Ohio to help them improve their schools for the past 25 years. I hold a teaching license in Ohio and a master's degree in education administration. I recognize that the role of a school board member is as a policy maker, not a manager. Ohio law requires the board to hire licensed personnel to lead the district as superintendent and as treasurer, and I think we have top people in place to do those jobs. If re-elected, I will continue to do my job, and only my job, to maintain policies that maximize benefits to students and minimize costs to taxpayers. Thank you for this opportunity to share with you this evening. Thank you, Linda. We do have some unopposed positions for President of Council, Steve Asbach. For Auditor, Peggy Brickweg. And Peggy, you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Peggy Brickweg, and I live at 4801 Hager Drive with my husband, Kurt. We have 2 children and 5 grandchildren. I served on St. Bernard Council for 8 years, and I am in my 12th year as auditor. I am running for my 4th term, and this time I am running unopposed. As a full-time auditor, I've worked with 3 different mayors and administrations. I have had the perspective to see firsthand what a great job Mayor Stuchel and his administration has done for St. Bernard. He takes the role as mayor very seriously. He is always there when needed and being on call 24/7. He is professional, dedicated, ethical, and one of the most hardworking people I know. You will not only see him at his desk and at City Hall meetings, but you will see him working throughout the village. He sets up, works, and cleans up after most of the major events. He works in our parks and gardens. He goes out on the streets with the engineers to come up with plans and even grants to repair village streets. There is so much more that Mayor and his great administration has done for St. Bernard, and I welcome residents to contact me at 513-325-4065 in regards to the importance of continuing to keep improving St. Bernard moving forward by re-electing Jonathan Mayer as our mayor and his great team that he has supporting him. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. And we also have Director of Law, and that is Valerie Van Valkenburg? Walden. Sorry, I know, I always trip over that name. Okay, we're going to move on to our candidates for mayor, and we're going to start with Jonathan Stuchel.
Great, thank you. Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve the village of St. Bernard for the last 4 years. I am asking for your support to be elected to another term so that our team can continue our mission and complete the projects that we have started. Our first immediate concern upon election was to rebuild from within and focus on our employees. We've had a revolving door in safety services that needed to be fixed. We've gone through 2 contracts with both departments, and during my tenure, we were finally able to get to a point where I can say I'm proud of the cooperative efforts to be competitive to attract and maintain firefighters and police officers. We are now working with the service department to finalize their contract to provide a fair and competitive package that will be able to attract and maintain individuals who do so much for our village. We have worked hard to reinvest in village facilities and parks, including council chambers, the main hall, and of course, I'm sure you've all seen the pavilion. We're committed to continuing to improve the parks with the replacement of outdated lighting, construction of a potential new permanent stage for concerts, a new track that can be used for our residents and schools. We have focused on community events by appointing a representative from the Recreation Department to exclusively deal with the community and special events such as the luau, special holiday events such as Christmas, Easter, the 4th of July, the Halloween camp out, concerts, adult and family nights at the Aquatic Center, and we're able to facilitate the request for a community garden that is now an independent organization, and we've been able to secure grants for the purchase of a small stage, a new sound system for the pavilion, pool, and park. We have the best recreation staff and community volunteer team that needs to stay so that we can continue to offer our citizens what they deserve. We have focused on economic development, grants, and infrastructure improvements. We have retained Alloy Development, which is again the former Hamilton County Development Corporation, to represent us for economic development purposes. I'm proud to say that we work closely with BASF on the largest expansion project for one of our industrial partners by assisting for the approval of an enterprise zone agreement for a $45 million improvement to the real property for a total of a $70 million project. We've secured a grant in the amount of $339,000 for the demolition of St. Bernard Square to make way for new housing options in the village. We have also been working closely with our engineers for street improvements for projects in the village, such as a $325,000 grant for Vine Street, which will be applied towards the necessary repair and improvements along with complete milling and resurfacing. We've also received grants for Kemper and Church Street that will be done in 2024, and we're currently working on a 50% matching grant on a $1 million project for Greenlee for complete milling, repaving, curbs, and driveway aprons. We remain committed to maintaining our team and also focusing on the appointment of a seasoned administrator to fill the position of Safety Service Director until we can later transition to that of a village manager. Mr. Paul is committed to stay until the proper vetting of candidates can be completed and the appropriate person can be hired. There is still work to be done for continued improvement, and thank you again for your support, and we appreciate your commitment to allowing us to continue our mission for St. Bernard. Thank you.
Thank you. And moving on to Bob Hausfeld. Bob has served with the citizens of St. Bernard for 28 years. The majority of that time as a firefighter and paramedic. So most of you are familiar with him. So if you'd like to come up and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Of course, you know, like most of you know me, I've been on the fire department for 28 years. I've lived here all my life, live up on Tower. I love this community. I've been around here for a long time, and I've seen a lot of changes. And I just don't see positive changes that I like. And talking to a lot of people, I feel like there's a lot of people that feel like I do. You know, I walk around St. Bernard, and I just don't see clean. You know, there's trash laying everywhere. There's high grass everywhere all summer. You know, there's a house down on Baker and Baker Place that has debris in the backyard for a year now. The grass just got cut, thank gosh. But I'm just tired of seeing it's not the St. Bernard that I grew up in. So I definitely want to make this a cleaner, safer community. Well, safer is another issue. I want to start figuring out some ways to take care of all these break-ins in the community, in the cars, businesses, and all around town. I have a few ideas for that, but so I definitely want to work on the safety. Parks, you know, you walk through the parks and benches are rotted, and just the city property just aren't kept up top notch. I don't blame it on service department employees. I blame it on leadership around this town. You know, a perfect example of the cleanliness is we had a water main break on Vine Street in front of Surefine. It's been almost 4 weeks. This Saturday will be 4 weeks, and it just got repaired today. I understand we have to wait on waterworks for some things, but back in the day, we would have went down there and we would have had our service department scrape and clean the mud up. We would have had the fire department down there with hoses and flush it down. And there's no reason that people had to drive through that for 3.5 weeks now. You know, back to safety, one of the big issues I have in town here is how much we go out on mutual aid to Elmwood. I understand we have to rely on mutual aid as a small department. Most departments do have to rely on each other. But when I see the first ambulance go out to Elmwood, and then I'm on the second ambulance and we go out to Elmwood also, then I'm upset, because I know that if any one of our families need an ambulance, they're going to have to wait for mutual aid to come from Norwood or Springfield Township, which is going to be another 10 minutes at least. So I know we supposedly signed a contract with Elmwood to cover them for some runs, and I know Elmwood's supposed to be paying a fair share for that. From what I understand, that I don't think Elmwood is paying the fair share from what I'm hearing, from the information I can gather. I also know that our police are going out there and patrolling their streets sometimes, and I don't want that. I want our police, our fire, and I want them people in St. Bernard protecting our families, our homes, our community. You know, I want to start doing something with vacant lots around here. I'm tired of walking up and down the street and seeing nothing being done on Vine Street all the way up and down. I talked to a young lady that's been here 35 years, and she said every time they want to do, her and her husband want to do something, they jump in a car and leave St. Bernard. Well, instead of putting a 200 apartment complex, a 200 unit apartment complex down here in the square, I'd like to see some sit-down restaurants. I would like to see some family entertainment, some other ideas I'd like to see. Okay, good enough, thanks. Oops, sorry.
Thanks, Bob. Well, we're going to come back to the square in some questions, so we'll have some time to address that as well. Okay, we're going to move on to our candidates for council. We're going to go in a little bit of reverse alphabetical order here, starting with Gus Stuchel.
First, I'd like to thank Mr. Taberky for organizing tonight's event and for all the candidates for coming out tonight. Hello, my name is Gus Stuchel, and I'm excited to be a candidate for St. Bernard Village Council in 2023. As a lifelong member of this community, my family has laid roots in this town, and my passion for it runs deep. I'm committed to making St. Bernard an even better place to live. I proudly graduated from St. Clement School in 2013 and Roger Bacon High School in 2017. I continued my education at the University of Cincinnati, where I earned a bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics, and I'm pursuing my master's degree in public administration from the same institution. My education has given me the knowledge and skills to address both the health and administrative needs of our community. I've dedicated my time and energy to volunteer work, contributing to events like the St. Clement Festival and the German Luau. Additionally, for the past 9 summers, I've been a seasonal employee at the St. Bernard Service Department, gaining firsthand experience in working for local government. I'm running for St. Bernard Village Council because I believe it's time for fresh, innovative leadership. I'm eager to bring new ideas and perspectives to the council, focusing on issues that matter most to our residents. Together, we can build a stronger, more vibrant community. Join me in shaping the future of St. Bernard. Together, we can create positive change that benefits us all. As the saying goes, it takes a village, so let's make St. Bernard a town we're even more proud to call a home. Thank you.
Thanks, Gus. And obviously, we know who's up next by alphabetical order. Chris Schuldmeyer.
Thank you, and thanks everybody for coming out. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Chris Schuldmeyer. I grew up in St. Bernard, just a few houses down from where I live now on Albert. I live there with my 3 kids and my beautiful wife, Brandy, who's also our moderator tonight. My kids are the 4th generation of kids to live in the house we live in now, and the 5th generation at least to live in St. Bernard. So I'm pretty proud of that. By day, my job, I'm the vice president of operations for a construction company, one of the larger construction companies here in Cincinnati. So you're probably asking, what will I do if I get elected? So there's a couple things. Number one, I would like to take on the laws, contracts, and claims for Cindy, who is no longer going to be on council. I think it's one of the most important committees that we have. I think you probably don't hear a lot about it, but it's the committee where we write the laws, we change things, add things. We also do a lot of work to try and keep the city out of litigation. It's really important. It's something that I think I'm qualified to do and something that I've actually enjoyed working on over the last couple years. The other thing that I'd like to do is work with Jonathan and try and leverage the city of Cincinnati and clean up the area between the service department and the highway. Even though that is not part of St. Bernard, it is an eyesore, and most people who get off the highway and come to the service department, they think it's part of St. Bernard, and they think it's the first thing they see. So I think we can put pressure on the city of Cincinnati to try and clean that up. One of the other things that I want to do is make a push to work harder to continue to collaborate. Not that many years ago, the council was pretty contentious. There was 2 parties that were pretty adversarial. It has not been like that since I've been up here, and I hope that it continues to be very collaborative. I think you get a lot more done when you collaborate. I think that people will work together instead of just trying to be opposed to an idea, even if it's a good idea, just because it came from someone else or a different party. I want to continue to do that. I want to continue to collaborate with the CIC. We'll talk about the shopping center here in a minute, but I really believe that what goes in that space is probably the most important thing that's going to happen to St. Bernard in the next 20 years. If we don't do that right, if it's not impactful, then we will have missed a huge opportunity to improve our city, to bring people into the city, good income into the city, and make it better. I also want to continue to work with the rec department. I think Paul and Jonathan have done an amazing job bringing back some things like the German Luau. I was fortunate enough to work on the Jackie Robinson staff, which I really enjoyed. I don't want to take any credit for it. Hopefully I added a little bit of value, but those are some of the things that I really done. Don's giving me the cutoff sign, so I'll cut it off. But I just want to finish by saying thank you to everybody who came today, and thank you for listening, and we'll be around for questions afterwards.
Our next candidate for council is Connor Morton.
Well, hello, everyone. Like you just heard, my name is Connor Morton, and I'm just really happy to see an awesome crowd here today. It's really inspiring to see so many folks getting involved in our village and believing how important it is that we continue to move forward. I do also want to start by saying thank you to Councilmember Don Tiberti and for ICRC-TV for hosting and putting on this event and broadcasting it. I think it's really important for folks to stay in the loop on what you'll be voting for on or before November 7th this year. I also want to say I'm just really super excited to be running for St. Bernard Council so that I can make sure that you can feel seen and heard, because I believe that that is a fundamental right for folks here in our village. Now, I treat everyone in St. Bernard like my neighbor, no matter how many steps away you are. And while I've been knocking on now just over 400 doors, I've had some really insightful conversations. I've connected our neighbors with resources, and I've seen our beautiful homes that I can't wait to see for Light Up St. Bernard. And I know it's easy to love our community, but with troubles like slow-moving initiatives and declining community engagement, it does make me wonder what it would be like if we had, well, more transparency, more engagement, more inclusivity, more of what makes St. Bernard our home. This is what has actually called me to run for St. Bernard Council, because I believe that it is now time to welcome fresh perspectives and ideas into our leadership. I believe that you all should have a voice in what goes on in our community. And I know that each successful festival, community dinner, and even holiday light show is a direct result of our love for this village. And while talking to our neighbors on their porches and at these functions, I've learned what else our community would like to see, and I've organized them into these initiatives. And I do understand that with the nonstop news of the latest stolen car or closed shop, it is really easy to get overwhelmed with that information overload. So I just want to keep it simple. There are 3 goals that we share in common. The first is more committee reporting to establish a precedent of constant improvement in learning. The second is more collaborative legislation so that we can ensure our laws and ordinances are leveraging expert insight before they get proposed. And finally, and most importantly, more community feedback opportunities to enable our neighbors to share their perspectives and their voice. That includes the passing of a non-discrimination ordinance to protect our neighbors. So let's join together with our neighbors and bring St. Bernard into this future, because I know that we believe in more for St. Bernard Council. Again, my name is Connor Morton, and I hope I can count on your vote on November 7th, and I'm excited to answer any questions you may have about my goals or what you'd like to see in our village. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Connor. We also have a write-in candidate who could not be here tonight, Greg Lear Wright. So next up is Nicole Klungel.
Hi, I'm Nicole Klungel. Like everybody here, I'm going to thank Don Tiberti, but a special shout out because Don and I are on opposite ends of the political spectrum, but we almost always meet in the middle on what's best for the village. Unfortunately, that means that he always demands acknowledgement from me that he is right, which always requires me to acknowledge that, yes, I am also left. So thank you, Don, for putting this on. Congratulations on your future endeavors and your retirement from council. Everybody, I hope we can. Thanks also to ICRC. I also want to do a special shout out to my husband, Sean. He's been very supportive, and thank you to all my friends, especially those who have friendly faces in the audience. I'm not going to read from prepared remarks today. I just want to tell you the type of council that I look for when I'm voting and the type of council that I'd really like to be a part of. I'd like to see a council with a pretty broad variety of viewpoints represented. The greater the breadth of experience that we see on that bench, the better the ideas that are going to come out of that bench. I'm talking about diversity of political views, experiences, different lengths of residence in the village. All of these things, when you have a breadth of perspective, it can only help. I'm going to amplify what my colleague Connor Morton said when I'm talking about I'd love to see a working council. That's a council that not just has more committee reporting, but more committee meeting. Council has 7 working committees, and with very rare exceptions, they don't meet. And that means the village is missing some really good opportunities. Some of those opportunities would be forming partnerships with area experts, area agencies, area nonprofits to develop new programs and policies that would benefit everybody in the village as well as guests. Also writing grants to support those programs and policies. In general, I think building partnerships within the community and partnerships outside the community are going to be things that really strengthen the village. So thanks again to all of you for being here. It's really important that people engage. They say all politics is local, and they're right. And I hope that everybody learns a lot. Ask me questions after.
Thank you, Nicole. And our next candidate for council, Patty Hausfeld.
Brandy, I also have a loud mouth, so I may not need this. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Patty Hausfeld. I am a lifelong resident of St. Bernard. I am the sister of Bob Hausfeld. I still live here in the home that I grew up with my mom at Tower Avenue. I attended St. Bernard grade school. I graduated from Roger Bacon High School. I worked for Walgreens drugstore for 29 years before I got hurt and was forced to leave that job. I also served breakfast to the Roger Bacon students for 10 years. I now work as a Blue Ash YMCA swim instructor, which I absolutely love, teaching kids how to swim and be safe in the water, as well as serving you, the taxpayers of St. Bernard, for many years. I have always took pride in listening to St. Bernard's residents, their concerns, their ideas, and then develop my opinion after I've heard all sides of the mark. I have always used common sense, and I've always voted my conscience. That's actually that's a story for later, but that's how I got kicked out of the political party years ago, for voting my conscience and doing what I felt was right for the city. I work well with others. I don't care what political party you're on. I've been an independent since I've been kicked out of a party from 20 years. I have always took pride in working with not only the citizens, but the administration, whoever is in there. I have always had the best interest of St. Bernard in my heart. I'm born and raised here. I hopefully one day will have another family here, and I intend to stay here the rest of my life. I right now am taking care of my mother, which if some of you guys don't know, we brought her home with hospice like 2 weeks ago. So I may not get to everybody's door, but my phone is always on. And if you want to call, it's 513-288-6300. And I look forward to talking to anybody's concerns and ideas. And I ask for you to re-elect Patty Hausfeld to council. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. And now our next candidate for council, who is our former mayor, John Estep.
Thank you, Brandy. Thanks, Don, for putting this on. Thank you to everybody for showing up. It's a nice sign. There's so much apathy in the world today, and it's nice to see people involved. Before I tell you some of my goals or anything about myself, I have a few thank yous. First one goes to the guy in the back, Paul Schultmeyer. When you're the mayor, you get the credit for the things that other people do behind the scenes. Paul was instrumental in the $1.3 million renovation of Ross Park. He got a hold of Charlie Frank, the Reds, Procter & Gamble, Cincinnati Children's, the Zoo, and a ton of volunteers, and turned that place into something that people are amazed with. Second thank you is to Paul Myers. He's no longer around, but thank you, Paul, for sitting down with me and negotiating a contract to get Weedham and Brewery here. I think those are two of the biggest things during my last term as mayor, and maybe two of the biggest things that's happened in St. Bernard in a long time. But I look forward to more good things happening here. Also, the guy to my right, when I was the mayor, Bob Hausfeld, he always volunteered. We renovated Franklin Park. We put a driveway in for a lady who was losing her husband. He eventually passed away, and some other projects that nobody knows about. But he's got a huge heart, and I appreciate all his help. I think one thing we need to do, we have a wonderful place here. We need to be more customer friendly. And this infighting that takes place all the time, we need to drop that. But the things that we do have here are ordinances. They need to be enforced. A lot of our people, our residents, are transient. They just moved here. They don't know when to put their garbage out. We need to be on top of that and tell them in a way that if you live south of Vine, it's Monday, Thursday, recyclables this day. But we don't do that, and we need to be more customer friendly and make them aware of some of the things that are here. And if they violate that, maybe it's a warning, and then whatever the second violation is. I just get tired of seeing all the garbage and the cars parked up on the sidewalk. I'd like to have people say that, that's St. Bernard. We're comparing you to Blue Ash or White Oak or another nice community, and not something else where they say, I went through St. Bernard the other day. I saw 4 piles of garbage on Saturday morning, and I saw 2 cars parked up on a sidewalk. That shouldn't happen. Our hall rentals, we have halls here to rent, and they're sitting there vacant. Some people use them, some people don't, but we need to be across the board and be more transparent. And everybody, if we're gonna rent them, put a $500 deposit on that. If you break the rule, then you don't get your deposit back. But we need to stand firm and not cave in because somebody doesn't live around here. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your vote.
Thank you, John. And our next candidate is Jeffrey Edwards.
Well, thank you, everybody. As I started thinking about candidates tonight, I started thinking about 40 years ago, just about to the day, I stood in the same spot, did the same thing, but at the time, I was 27 years old and working at a Goodyear tire store. And when I did it that day, I remember in the afternoon typing for about 3 or 4 hours just to type 2 pages. And it just, we had typewriters back then. But it was that bad, and within 10 or 15 seconds after I started reading what I had wrote all day long, I realized people didn't want to be read to. They want to be talked to. And so I just have an outline. You'll see a lot of my life is about my family. I've lived here my whole life. My mom lived here her whole life. She was born in 1922. Her parents lived here. I don't know if they were born here, but they lived here in the 1800s. My mom had older siblings that actually swam in the Miami-Erie Canal. I grew up on Jefferson. I now live on Jackson. I've been there since 1988. I've been married to Cindy for 38 years, and she ran the cafeteria at the high school for about the last 15. I graduated there in 1974. Had a very good math teacher. And she remembers me. She actually thought I was smart at the time. I don't know if she still does. But I had 3 kids, Chris, Kim, and Allie. A lot of people know them. They all graduated from St. Bernard High School just like I did. Chris is married to Jamie, and he still lives in St. Bernard and McClellan. He lives in a house that my son-in-law Jason and I rehabbed from scratch. And actually it was vacant for about 20 years. And we bought that, and we redid that one. We also rehabbed the house on Sullivan. That's now owner-occupied. My daughter Kim is married to Jason. He's a St. Bernard firefighter. They live on Delmar with my grandkids Abby and Jackson and their golden doodle Coco. She loves her grandpa more than anybody. And my youngest daughter, Allie, is married to Tim. They live in Coleraine with my grandson, Benny, and they're expecting another one. And so with the 3 kids, it was normal for me to coach just about every possible team I could. We did t-ball, we did soccer, girls softball, even did a year in baseball with my son. And even last year with the grandkids, I helped Denise Harmon coach volleyball at St. Clement. I worked for 36 years as a self-employed distributor at St. Bernard, everything's St. Bernard in me, at Hussman Snack Foods. There you had to take care of your own truck. You bought it, you maintained it, you had to maintain your inventory, you had to pay your own taxes. But one of the most valuable things I learned was how to communicate with people. Dealing with just about everybody you could think of, from meeting Robert Linder, that ran UDF, to just people and over the Rhine that I had hardly had $2 to scrape together. But the reasons this year I decided to run, it's the big things and little things. Some people have talked about how St. Bernard isn't the way it used to be, because there is a lot of litter, there's a lot of yards I've seen that really haven't lived up to the standards that we've had in the past. There's actually about a 70-foot oak tree that's dead over where about John lives on Delmar and Delmar Court. Donnie's wanting me to quit, so. But I want to just be a part of the shopping center. I think I have good ideas. I like to help with that. And I like to just thank you for listening and ask you to support me. And I think I'll do a good job for St. Bernard. Thank you.
Okay, we're making our way through the alphabet here. Next candidate, Mr. Ray Culbertson.
Thanks to everybody in the audience for attending. It's great to see this crowd of people. Hopefully there are any other meetings or community involvement we have, we see the similar numbers. As Brandy said, I'm Ray Culbertson, for those of you that don't know. My wife Heidi and I have lived and invested the majority of our lives in St. Bernard. We have chose to stay here and raise both of our daughters, Elena and Maggie, in St. Bernard due to the close-knit community, top-notch services, great schools, family-oriented activities, and safety, the overall safety of our village. I've proudly served as the Ward 2 representative for the last 10 years. During that time, I'm proud to have been part and supported many projects that came to fruition, including the senior housing, now known as St. Bernard Commons, the former M. Wally Funeral Home being transitioned over to Wiedemann Brewery, Vine Street Streetscape, and the Ross Park renovation. I've had the pleasure of serving many committees over the last 10 years, including the Safety Committee, Marketing Committee, Laws, Contracts, and Claims Committee. And I've also been a member of the Community Improvement Corporation. The biggest thing for me is this village offers services second to none. Our police, fire, service department, administration, and recreation department. I challenge you to bring any other community to the table that offers what we offer. And we need to maintain that. On my way out here, I'd like to thank Don Taberky, Cindy Bettinghouse, and Bob Culbertson for their service to the village. I'd also like to thank everyone up here and wish everyone up here good luck. Thanks.
Thank you, Ray. And our next candidate is Kirk Brickweg.
Thank you, Brandy. I would like to thank everyone for being here. Like everybody's saying, it is a great crowd, and I really am impressed seeing this many people come out for this. Good evening, I'm Kirk Brickweg. I live at 4801 Hager Drive. I'm a lifelong resident of St. Bernard. I am in my second year as a St. Bernard Council at Large representative. I'm a chairperson of the Safety Committee and a member of the Laws, Contracts, and Claims Committee, as well as Business and Industry. I'm a retired St. Bernard fire captain, having worked 33 years for the department. I am married to Peggy Brickweg, and we married this October for 25 years. We have 2 children, Chris and Megan, and 5 grandchildren. I am running for re-election for council at large because I believe I want to continue to work in improving the village of St. Bernard. I want to make sure we continue the great level of services like Don has talked about and everybody's talked about, police, fire, service, and also all of our entertainment that we have, all of our festivals. I think it's a great community, and like Don said, second to none. I want to continue to work for improving the village of St. Bernard, and I want to make sure we continue the great level of services that St. Bernard provides its residents. as well as businesses, at the same time finding new ways to increase their revenues. I thank you for your support on November 7th, and I thank everybody for being here. Thank you.
All right, and our next candidate for council also has a big anniversary coming up. It looks like on October 11th. We'll bring up Arthur Butch Abrams.
Thanks, Brandy, and thanks, Donnie. Congratulations. We used to have all these talks about retirement now. We're both hitting the trail. Good evening. Thanks for coming, everybody. My name is Arthur Butch Abrams. I'll always go by Butch. Been married to my wife, Cheryl, for 37 years. We're having our anniversary on October 11th. And Cheryl and I have been residents here for over 20 years. I retired from the Cincinnati Catholic Cemetery Society. I ran St. John's and St. Mary's Cemetery as a director there for 30 years. And right now I'm currently working as a part-time courier. My wife Cheryl is the administrative assistant to the mayor and was to the previous mayor, Estep. What do I bring to the table here? I'm a good listener. Being in the cemetery business, you get to see people at their best and their worst. So you have to be able to sit down and you have to be able to listen to them, what their problems are, and what you can do for them. So along that same line, I'm a problem solver. I'm kind of like a bulldog. I get on things and I don't let them go. And I think I can work well with council because I am a good listener. And I will work hard for you. My vision for St. Bernard is I want it to become a destination, not a drive-through. We want people to come in here. We want them to stay. And that's important for us. To encourage businesses to come and to have families to come. And I'm also kind of big on having the young professionals. We have Pill Hill, we have all kinds of doctors and nurses and things like that. If we can kind of get some housing together and maybe bring them down here, it kind of adds a vibrancy to the community. The last thing I wanted to say is it's very important to me and to you folks that whoever you elect, you hold their hand to the fire. You make sure they're doing the job for you. Just don't vote for him. He's a nice guy. And don't do anything. Get on the phone and call. You know, you got a problem, you got to get a hold of them. We have that complaint line that you can call. It's anonymous. Call your council person. Okay, that complaint line's fine, but it's you're not talking to anybody. Call your council person. Demand the very best out of the people you elect. That's your responsibility, and our responsibility is to deliver the job for you. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you coming out.
All right, we want to thank all of our council candidates for coming up and telling us a little more about yourselves. We do have 11 candidates for 7 open seats, so some big decisions to be made there. We do have some questions. Most of them are focused at our mayoral candidates. If we're ready. The first one, we're going back to the shopping center, of course. What is your focus for the shopping center and your focus for overall development in St. Bernard?
Be glad to start with that. We are at a minor stall with working through a parking agreement, but our goal is to increase the density by bringing new residents and residential opportunities to the village. The 190 units will help increase, obviously, the vibrancy of the community, bringing in additional income, but most importantly, we have dropped substantially as far as our overall residency. There is a substantial demand for homes and living accommodations in the village by young professionals and new individuals that would want to become part of this community. Those individuals don't have the opportunity right now because the available space is not there. If we can bring them to this community, there's a whole lot more we can do to help become, as Mr. Abrams had stated, start talking about a destination. With this development, I believe that we can create more of a walking community focus. I do believe that there will be additional development that will spawn from the actual mixed-use development itself, and there will be future expansion opportunities as well. As far as being able to do any other future development on Vine Street, I do believe that this development itself is a catalyst for everything else. Being able to show that there would be opportunities for businesses to thrive, to be able to be supported. It's going to take, obviously, additional residents. St. Bernard alone can't support, a new restaurant or business venture alone, but this certainly would help. If we can create, again, additional opportunities in the walking community, create potential opportunities for additional rental space as far as for restaurants, potentially entertainment area, we could even do a Dora. There's so much more that we can do, but this investment is a much needed part of the village itself for our future.
As you heard me at the beginning, I'm not a big fan of 200 more apartment units down there. First off, I was told that it was going to get started. Now I'm hearing that Skyline's holding it up. So I'm not sure what's really going on. But I'm not a fan of apartment complex down there. I'm a fan of putting some things down there. First off, bringing more people into the town. We have about, I'm guessing 4,300, somewhere around there, people in town. I want to take care of the people that are here. I want some stuff down in the square that the people here can walk to or take their family over for to hang out and have fun in this community. I'm not worried about really putting apartment complexes down there. I'd like to work on the people across the street, the Surefine business, and try to improve that in the Wendy's area. Other than that, for businesses in town, I'd like to just take care of the ones we got. I don't know if anybody knows this, but when they talk about P&G, do you know there's actually 4 P&G plants here? It's not just one. So that means there's 4 plants with 4 plant managers. I want to make sure we're top notch to those people. We take care of those people. We take care of the residents that we have here now. We make it a clean, safe community, and that's where I want to go. So.
Okay, our next question. What do you see the city is not doing right, and how would you go about fixing that problem? I believe this is also for Jonathan and Bob. You want to go first?
So what was the question? What we're not doing?
Yeah, what is the city not doing right, and how are you going to go about fixing that?
Well, I think most people get to understand what I don't think is going right is I don't think our leadership is prioritizing what needs to get taken care of around here. I think, definitely around the community, we got over 50% rental properties now. And if you walk around in the summer, you'll see high grass or you'll see trash around, you'll see garbage cans out in the middle of the night because somebody didn't take them back. I just think we got to do a better job with leadership. Like John said earlier, we need to let these tenants know that, hey, these are the rules you got to live by. I just want to see everything cleaned up and fixed. As for safety, as I've been out talking to a lot of people for the last few weeks, and they're very concerned about the break-ins at night. One lady told me she had handprints on the side window where somebody was trying to pry open her window. So we really got to get on the ball with safety. I don't know. I do have some ideas of being out in the middle of the night with maybe undercover officers and some other ideas, but we have just got to really start making it a safer community where people feel safe around here. So.
And I don't totally disagree with what Bob has said. Yes, there are things we need to do better. We do need to focus on prioritizing what is needed for the community itself. Yes, with safety. I think we've built the best team of individuals, both within our police and fire department. We've been able to do more now with staffing, now that we're finally at full staffing. It's been a revolving door for years. We've been able to do more with the community as far as providing with the schools, developing a relationship that was basically non-existent. Now that we have a school resource officer in the building, it is a substantial help. But yes, we can do better. As far as one of the things that we can do is actually having an individual, hopefully in a position in the future that would be not necessarily promoted from within, relying on a professional to help guide the village through instances that we don't have a dedicated individual, say, for human resources. We don't have an individual that's necessarily dedicated to economic development. We do outsource that to Alloy Development, which has been a great partnership and has worked in the meantime. But we do need to have professional leadership from outside that is hired in, someone that's not just promoted from within the community. So I think that's our village is in desperate need. We're finally on the cusp. We're at a pivotal point, and we do need to have that guidance. And again, there are things that we need to continue improving upon. And again, it's something that we can work together as a village.
Another question that kind of piggybacks off safety is involving seniors. Jonathan, we'll start. What are you going to do for seniors? Could you get the grocery parking lots clean and safe?
So as far as getting the grocery parking lots clean and safe, as far as speaking of here locally, yes, we do actually run our sweeper in those lots. We are under contract to do that with that property owner. As far as being safe, as far as having a greater police presence, yes, there have been some instances at Sure Fine that have occurred, between some customers and other individuals. Yes, we have probably should have a greater police presence. As far as being transported for our seniors, I mean, we do take you to Kroger's as well, which we have limited control over, but certainly could do more around our local grocery store as well if there is an issue and our seniors do feel concerned. I mean, we do have the senior shuttle, of course, that drops you off right at the door. They're waiting for you. I think we have a very dedicated group of drivers to help escort those individuals if needed. But yeah, we probably need to do more and for them to uphold as far as the maintenance of their property. But again, first thing in the morning, the actual property itself looks clean, and it doesn't take much longer for it to get trashed. And I agree with that, and that needs to be dealt with.
Bob, did you have anything to add?
Sure. With cleanliness again, I'm gonna start with Sure Fine. I know what the question was about. I know who asked it. I totally agree. You go over there, it's a mess. The building's a mess all the way around, even in the back. You go to Wendy's, it's a mess. I am going to do whatever I can to be on those those business owners and try to start getting their property cleaned up daily. And I'm talking about litter and trash all the way around, used tires, everything you see in the parking lots. You go over to the other side of the street, and again, the building's a mess, and I understand the city wants to tear that, or the village wants to tear that down. I understand that. But the phone store's been sitting there with the windows boarded up for, I'm guessing, at least 6 to 8 months that I know of. You go in Dollar General, they got floor tiles missing, and I talked to the manager, and he says, hey, look, we've asked for the city to clean it up or to fix them, and they won't fix them. Well, I don't care what we're going to do tearing down the building wise. We need, if we're taking rent from these businesses, we need to maintain these businesses for safety of the people that use the stores. As for the shuttle, I was talking to some seniors and some disabled people around town, and they would definitely love to see the shuttle running 5 days a week. So I'm not sure what the costs are, but I would definitely like to look at that to get it running a little bit more. I talk about the shopping center and safety. I think some of you are aware that I've found live wires over there from where a pole got knocked down 3 years ago. Over 3 years ago, I'm sorry. Over 3 years ago, a pole got knocked down, And these live wires sat there in the parking lot where it was a danger to everybody's kids in the area, everybody that walked by. It just so happened after that was discovered, I was told to look over at Ross and Vine Street, right in front of Surefine, and there's more live wires that have an orange cone on them. Well, since then, now that it's been brought to the city's attention, they have caution, a box on it with caution. But that's unacceptable. We cannot allow stuff like that to happen in our community for, you know, the safety of the people, the kids that walk around. It's just unacceptable. It's got to be fixed. And again, it's leadership. It isn't employees in town. It's the leadership around town that needs to take care of it.
All right, and just a couple more questions for our mayoral candidates here, and we'll start with Bob. I like this one. It's kind of a tough question in that you're thinking, what is your greatest fear as mayor?
You know, my greatest fear, Mayor, is I really don't have one. I mean, I think we got some great businesses in this town, and I think if we get in touch with them and they know us on a first name basis, and if they need something, they call us, and if we need something, we call them, and we work together, I think we'll do fine financially. As for St. Bernard, I think St. Bernard's a fabulous community. I wouldn't have built a home here, I wouldn't stay here if I didn't think it was a great community. But I just know that over the years, I've seen it go downhill, and I just want to try to stop it and see what we can do to reverse some of this stuff. One of the biggest things I want to do is start more programs for the seniors, and I would like to start more programs for people with disabilities. While I've been out the last 3 weeks putting signs all over St. Bernard, I ran into 3 women that all have kids with autism. And the one woman lives right across the street from me, matter of fact. She told me, she said, you know, we need more for the kids with disabilities. She says that something as little as the Easter egg hunt. The Easter egg hunt, we mark off areas for 1st and 2nd grade, or 3rd and 4th, 4th or 5th and 6th, 6th and 7th, but we don't do nothing for people with disabilities. And she said, my son has autism, severe autism, and she said he can't be around a bunch of other kids. And I said, you know, I always took pride in the fire department working with the seniors and people with disabilities, but I never gave that a thought. And it's like, it's so simple. I mean, we got to start thinking about those people, or all people in St. Bernard. I don't care who they are.
Jonathan, what would be your biggest fear?
My biggest fear would be losing the excellent team of individuals that we've built as far as to support the village and village functions. Especially within, so for example, within our recreation department, not just even the individuals that are employed, but yet the community volunteers that help us continuously to provide excellent service, to provide for our community events. Those individuals have stepped up above and beyond. And again, you know, one of the things as mayor, you know, you're only as good as the people around you. So it's not left up to one individual. So again, the losing of a team to me is my biggest fear.
Thank you. And I think this is a good, probably final question. We'll start with Jonathan. What are your top 3 priorities if elected?
Top 3 priorities. One, as far as to continue, you know, our successful, you know, financial endeavors. We've right now currently the strongest we've financially been in years. With that being said, that is going to give us the opportunity to continue to reinvest to make a substantial and noticeable difference. The next really is, again, bringing in the proper individuals to guide the village. And that does not necessarily mean individuals that are elected. This would be individuals that we could be key appointments and hires to provide professional guidance that we have not had at any one point. We are at a point where I do believe there should be consistency within certain village functions that do not change at election time, so that there's not a fear within City Hall, there's not a fear within the residents, and that there would be actually something consistent regardless of who is in office. I do think we're at the point where we should start transitioning into some sort of administrative position that, again, right now we're bound to a title of Safety Service Director, but at this point, that could transition into that of a village manager. That kind of goes into my third key point, is that I do want to readdress the charter. I think it is necessary. I think we probably need to go about it a little differently, and hopefully next time, we can work with a group of citizens and a committee that could actually make the necessary changes. We are partway there. We are at a point where within City Hall, we still can be more efficient. We've already started. We've done as much as we possibly can without actually opening the charter, but there is an option of consolidating services and actually even streamlining and being able to have the additional resources available to bring in the proper individuals that need to be guiding the village. So again, we definitely need to address that.
And Bob, your top 3 priorities.
Well, I do believe, I agree with Jonathan on hiring a professional city or village person to run the community. We need somebody that can go out and get grants for our communities, because our roads and our sidewalks need some serious work. So I'm definitely in favor of that. I disagree with him on we're tied by the charter or whatever. Cities or service/safety manager. I believe that it could have happened years ago, at least 4 years ago. We take his salary, which I think they already asked for a higher salary for next year for that position. We take that salary and we go out and find somebody to do the job that's qualified. In the past, we hire people that are good old boys of St. Bernardians, and we just give them the job, and they're not qualified, which we've seen. My second thing is I am big on, if I'm elected mayor, I got some ideas, but you know what? It's what the majority of people want. So we're going to work together. We have to work together to do the changes that need to come to clean this place up. A third priority is I really want to work on cleaning up the city, and that means, in front of the shopping center, which I know is hopefully going to get torn down and redeveloped someday. But we got park benches that rotted and fell off, and we just put more flowers in there. I want things fixed back. I want to start hiring people in the city that are qualified to do other things, that are have skills. I want, like I said, there's other places that just need a lot of cleaning, and a pressure washer would do wonders. But one of the biggest things I want to do, and I've told people around town that I've talked to this, but I haven't really announced it yet, but I really want to clean this city up, or this village up. I keep saying city because it was a city for a long time and switched over some years ago. But I want to clean our village up that I love. And I believe the mayor's salary is about $18,000 a year. And I know years ago when I was first married and I didn't have any extra money, it's hard to get chores and things done around your house if you don't have the proper tools to get them done. So what I would like to do with the mayor's salary for 4 years, I don't want a penny of it. I want to use it for charity in St. Bernard. And I've got some ideas that I'd like to do with that, but I got to check and make sure things are legal and stuff. But I am telling you right now, 100% of the salary will go to charity. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I love this community and I want to see it do a lot better. Thank you.
All right, well, thanks to our mayoral candidates. I know you took the brunt of the questions, but our other candidates are up here if anybody would like to come talk to them after this is over. I do want to thank our outgoing council members, and Don, thank you so much for organizing this. Good luck in your retirement and on the farm, and good luck to all of our candidates on Election Day.